At 94, Angie Dickinson finally tells the truth about Ricky Nelson. Angie Dickinson was born Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931 in Colm, North Dakota. She grew up during the Great Depression when times were really tough. Her father ran a newspaper, and from him she learned to be smart and curious about everything. When her family moved to California, people started to notice she had something special that made her stand out. Angie didn't dream of being a movie star when she was young. She went to college to study business and acting. Her career started almost by accident when she entered a beauty contest on TV in the early 1950s and got a deal with Columbia Pictures. What made Dickinson different wasn't just that she was beautiful, but that she seemed real and down to earth. She came across as warm, funny, and genuine. Her early movie work in the 1950s showed she was getting better as she went from tiny roles to bigger parts. A big break came with Rio Bravo in 1959, where she acted alongside John Wayne and Dean Martin. This role made her a star and showed everyone she could be tough and soft at the same time. During the 1960s, Angie had a busy movie career. She was in dramas, westerns, comedies, and thrillers. Films like Ocean's 11, The Killers, and Point Blank showed how many different kinds of roles she could do. Dickinson handled changes in Hollywood smoothly, proving she could do well in both fancy studio movies and darker, more thoughtful films. While her movie career was going great, Angie also became a huge name on television. In 1974, she starred in Policewoman, becoming the first woman to be the main character in a successful TV drama as a police officer. Back then, female characters were often just helpers or there to look pretty, so this was groundbreaking. She played Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson with confidence, smarts, and kindness. The show was a huge hit and inspired future generations of female-led crime shows. As years went by, Angie became pickier about roles, appearing in important films like Dressed to Kill in 1980. Even as Hollywood changed and there weren't as many good roles for women her age, Dickinson stayed respected and admired for being honest and real. By the early 1990s, she kept surprising people with bold roles. In Wild Palms in 1993, she gave one of her scariest performances as a cruel militant sister. The role let her try something darker and deeply unsettling. That same year, she played a ruthless Montana spa owner in Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. Instead of making the role softer, she went all in, showing her willingness to take creative risks. Off camera, her independence was just as impressive. In November of that year, she walked off the set of This Is Your Life special. She didn't want to be part of a show she felt was fake, so she refused to continue. The moment became a symbol of her strong self-respect. Her career kept going strong into the mid-1990s with big and very different roles. In 1995, she was in Sabrina, the romantic comedy starring Harrison Ford. That same year, she appeared in The Maddening and The Dorm's Analyst, moving easily between drama and silly comedy. In 1997, she entertained audiences on The Larry Sanders Show, playing an old flame. It was another reminder that her screen presence was still captivating. Dickinson's personal life had the same mix of glamour and complexity. In 1952, she married Gene Dickinson, a former college football player. Although their marriage officially lasted until 1960, they had separated in 1956. Dickinson chose to keep her married name after the divorce. During these years, Dickinson became close friends with economist John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife Catherine. Their friendship introduced her to a wider cultural and political world. Her visits with the Galbraiths and extensive travels while Galbraith served as U.S. ambassador to India left a lasting mark. A new chapter began in 1965 when Dickinson married famous composer Burt Bacharach. For 16 years, they shared a marriage shaped by artistic passion and professional demands. As time passed, the relationship grew complicated and they went through a period of separation. Even so, their relationship lasted longer than many Hollywood marriages. On July 12, 1966, they welcomed their daughter Nikki, whose life would deeply affect both parents. Nikki was autistic, and her challenges brought emotional stress, especially at a time when understanding and support for autism were much more limited. Her struggles continued into adulthood, and her tragic death by suicide on January 4th, 2007 marked one of the most painful chapters of Dickinson's life. Burt Bacharach himself passed away in 2023. At 94 years old, Angie Dickinson speaks with a clearness that only time can give. When she finally opens up about Ricky Nelson, it's not with scandal or regret, but with tenderness and understanding. People always wanted to turn everything into a romance, Angie says gently. But what Ricky and I shared was more complicated and more meaningful than that. When Dickinson and Nelson met in the early 1960s, both were going through different stages of fame. Angie was already a well-known actress, while Ricky was America's golden boy, the teen idol with a perfect smile. He was adored, she recalls. And that kind of adoration can be a prison, especially when you're so young. The age difference was often whispered about, but Angie says the real difference was experience. Ricky had been famous since childhood. I don't think people understood how much that took from him. He never really had the chance to discover who he was without an audience watching. She describes Nelson as thoughtful, shy beneath his public image, and far more introspective than people knew. He was sweet and polite, almost old-fashioned. But there was a sadness there, a loneliness. I saw it right away. According to Dickinson, Ricky struggled to balance expectations with his desire to grow as an artist and as a man. He wanted to be taken seriously, not just screamed at. Angie dismisses the idea that their connection was driven by publicity. There was no agenda, no manipulation, just two people talking, laughing, trying to understand each other in a world that didn't slow down for anyone. She pauses before adding, I think I may have been someone he could talk to honestly. As years passed, their lives naturally moved in different directions. But Angie never forgot him. Ricky was a warning, she says softly. Fame can freeze you in time. It can stop you from growing if you're not careful. Nelson's tragic death in 1985 hit her hard. It felt unfinished, like he never got the chance to live the life he wanted. That breaks my heart to this day. Now at 94, Angie speaks with compassion. Ricky wasn't weak. He was sensitive. And sensitivity is dangerous in a world that rewards image over truth. She smiles sadly. I hope people remember him for his talent and for the human being behind the fame. In finally telling her truth, Angie Dickinson doesn't rewrite history. She humanizes it.